Hello everyone, today we're going to do problem 2475 from LeetCode. It's called number of unequal triplets in array. So let's go ahead and read the question. We are given an array of positive integers nums, and we want to find the number of triplets that meet the following conditions. Nums I, nums j, and nums at index k are pairwise distinct, meaning that none of them are equal to each other. So in this case, you can see we have this array and the output is 3, and that's because we have 3 possible ways we can sort of separate these. And you'll notice here's the indexes and the reasoning is right here. And in this example, you can see that we have all the same digits, so we don't have any possible triplets where all the numbers are distinct. Now, I saw a lot of the solutions on here were offering the brute force solution, and I wanted to approach this from a combinatorical perspective, which I think you'll see is actually quite nice. And let's go ahead and jump to the paper and see how that works out. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I tried making this part of the video like a million times, and each time I thought it was too long and too complicated, so I'm just gonna run through it. Hopefully it makes sense. If it doesn't, sucks to suck. Go look up Combinatorics. Let's just start. The idea is to use the complement rule, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna just calculate all the possible ways we can get a triplet from nums. We don't care about if they're the same, if they're not the same, like whatever. We don't care. Just all the possible ways we can get triplets. We're gonna subtract all the times where we have 2 digits being the same, and lastly, we're also gonna subtract the times where all the digits are the same. And I hope intuitively you can see why that would give us the situations where we have them just being all unique, none of them are the same. And let's just go ahead and see how we're gonna do that. We're gonna calculate all possible combinations by using this equation right here. The way we derive it is with we say we have n ways to choose the first value of the triplet, n minus 1 ways to choose the second value of the triplet, and so on for the last value. And then we divide by 3. That's because we have sequences of 3. And we also want to divide by 2, and that's because we don't want to double count, meaning that if we have 4, 4, 2, we might see this sequence twice from nums, even though we should only count it as one sequence that we're seeing one time. And if you know combinatorics, it's n choose 3 right here. It's the same thing. I have it written down for all the other ones. Let's go on. For 2 values are the same in the triplet, we're going to take the amount of times that the value shows up in nums, and we're going to say n minus count is the amount to choose that third value that's not the same as the other 2. And then we're going to choose out of the other 2, we're going to have count and count minus 1. That is us choosing between the numbers that show up twice. And again, we divide by 2 to avoid double counting. Lastly, we're going to do the exact same kind of idea. We're going to take count, where count is the amount of times that number showed up in nums, and we're going to calculate how many ways we can make a triplet where it's all values are the same. We're going to have count times count minus 1 times count minus 2. And you'll notice actually something really nice, where if count is equal to 2, like if the amount of times the number does show up as 2, then here we're actually going to get 0. So we don't even have to write like an if statement for, hey, if the count is exactly 2, only calculate this one. And if the count is greater than 2, calculate both of these, right? We can just write it straight away. And again, divide by 3 because it's a sequence of, we want to get a sequence of 3, and divide by 2 because of double counting. We're going to go ahead, let's go write it up in LeetCode, and hopefully you'll see how it all kind of ties in together. let's go ahead and I'll show you. I hit submit and it's gonna accept it. This time we got 0 milliseconds, whatever. You'll see that what I did is essentially I made a unordered map. This was to keep track of how many times I see each value in nums, and I iterate over right here. Right here, I'm calculating exactly what we said. This is all possible combinations, and we have that equation that we saw earlier on the paper. And lastly, here I'm iterating over all the numbers that showed up in the map. I'm taking the count and I'm saying if the count is less than 2, meaning either it showed up once, I think the only situation is realistically it would show up once, then we continue, meaning we go on to the next number in the map. If it's 2 or higher, we're gonna calculate exactly those two things that we said. We're gonna check if we have 2 of the same digit in the triplet. We're gonna subtract that from possible combinations, and we also have all the digits in the triplet being the same. And we're also gonna subtract that from possible combinations, and we're just gonna return at the end. And yeah, I hope the solution made sense to you guys. I think it's a little bit nicer than the brute force. It has a bit more thinking involved. It's also mathematical, which is always nice to see when math actually helps us out with something. I hope this helped you out, and if you have questions, leave them down below. I'll try and get to them. Thank you.